Hi everyone, hey, it's Ask Bryan Martin today. I reached out recently and requested any and all questions to come my way pertaining to real estate. I got actually a really nice handful of questions. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to whittle it down to two that I thought were really important, really interesting. They'll be interesting to learn about, whether you're looking to buy or sell, or maybe you know someone who is, or you're just a little bit interested and want to check out this video. So here's two questions. In fact, these were both brought to me by a couple of first-time home buyers just entering the market. So really just learning, which is what this is all about. The first question, and I may save the other questions for future videos, in fact. The first question was, how do sellers evaluate an offer? Okay. Really, there's so many combinations of things that can happen once you submit an offer as a buyer, whether you're a new buyer or not. So many combinations. So I'm going to sort of read what I responded to this buyer, and also kind of fill in the blanks a little bit. So I wrote that sellers actually evaluate the offers by comparing them to one another. So far obvious stuff. In some cases, there may only be one offer, so maybe nothing to compare. In most cases, however, especially here in Silicon Valley, we're used to multiple offer situations. So the number one thing to compare is, of course, the obvious, the price. But the second most important thing is the contingencies. That's a whole different topic. We could do a whole class on contingencies, but long story short, we're talking about ways that the buyer can back out or renegotiate between getting into contract and closing the transaction without risking a deposit being lost. So that's basically what contingencies are. They are kind of insurance policy elements of the offer, is another way to put it. So those two things are really A and B. After that, though, there are many tiebreakers, a lot of little tiebreakers amongst the offers. And a lot of this is kind of the main point here, is a lot of this can be found out by the buyer's agent simply by communicating with the listing agent up front and finding out what is it the seller is looking for, right? A tiebreaker could be paying for the buyer, actually offering to pay for one or more of the fees that's typically paid for by the seller. Another one could be a rent back. Does the seller need to actually stay in the property a little bit longer than is allotted by the contract? So when title is transferred, does the seller want to stay a little bit longer? Okay, if the buyer is willing to offer that, and before that even find out, do the work to find out, that alone could be an advantage right there as a tiebreaker. So those are the sorts of things that can be tiebreakers. In more cases than not, we do see multiple counters go out. So all this stuff is part of the discussion when that's happening. So that's the really quick answer to that, obviously. As with that question, this question to come, or any other question you have, feel free to send it my way. I can give you more information. The second question, is it better to, or more advisable to, buy a renovated home or buy and then renovate? So my take on this, I have a pretty specific take on this, actually. If you are the type of buyer who really wants a move-in ready home, then obviously go for the renovated home. Again, now getting past the obvious, in Silicon Valley, most buyers, it seems, want the move-in ready home. So the move-in ready home is the home where you get your keys, you move in, and you're not going to have anything to worry about, or very little to worry about, for years, right? Maybe I have 20 years left on this roof. The whole place has been renovated. The termite work is now done. Nothing to, hopefully worry about for a long time. However, because supply and demand of the buyers, everyone's shifting there, they all want that type of property. That's where you see the multiple offers. That's where you see the quote unquote bidding wars. And that's where you see people getting top dollar for their home on the selling end. That said, that leaves some other types of buyers out there for other types of properties, which include what are known as fixer-uppers. So if there's a fixer-upper, who might be interested in that? Well, there could be someone looking to purchase it, flip it by renovating and then reselling for a profit. There could be investors who maybe want to purchase it and clean it up a little bit and then rent it out and hold it for a while. And then there are those buyers who might be willing to take that kind of property on, do the improvements themselves either right away or over time and use that as their primary residence to live in. So if you're that type of buyer, that is a good value. That's a good value if you can stomach that whole process, which is a process. No sugarcoating that. But the real key here is the investors, whether they are looking to rent it out or looking to fix and flip and fix and sell, they all are dealing with simply numbers. They're dealing with, there's a certain price where I can get this, and anything over that is not going to make sense to me. I'm looking at this very objectively. If those other types of buyers who might be willing to stomach doing the improvements like this home so much that they're willing to put the work in, and they can come up a little bit higher than all the investors, there you go. You've gotten yourself a home, and you're building the value in, you're building equity as you improve the home, and you really probably have less competition in general on that type of home than you do where you're paying the premium for the move-in ready home. So hopefully that's helpful information. Again, I'm Bryan Martin. I'm with Intero Real Estate here in Willow Glen in San Jose. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to send them my way. I will look to make this a semi-regular event, shooting videos out like this, a little bit more in depth than my typical market update. All right, that's the scoop here. I'll talk to you later. Have a great rest of your week. Bye now.